Stop me if you've heard this one. Don't literally stop me. Like, subscribe, comment, all those things. Young man, teenager in high school. He's shy. He's kind of nerdy. He's not very confident. He's socially awkward. He has movie good looks that everybody in the world has apparently agreed to completely ignore. And he is about to go to a party where the cool kids are, which is going to change his life forever. Yeah, we've heard a lot of versions of that movie, right? It's the setup for a pretty standard formula. Maybe he's going to meet a girl. Maybe something other adventure is going to happen. Usually he's going to meet a girl. That is the setup for this movie. But the difference is that this party is a New Year's Eve party happening on December 31st, 1999. And that's how we begin the movie Y2K. And this is a Drafthouse Diary for Thursday, December 5th, 2024, when I went to see that movie at the Littleton Aspen Grove Alamo Drafthouse. So in Y2K, we get the setup of a coming-of-age story. Maybe it's going to be a romance. Maybe it's going to take one of another few paths this kind of story tends to take with our main character, his kind of goofy sidekick best friend, the girl of his dreams, who has seemed unapproachable until this night. But this movie turns into a horror comedy because at the stroke of midnight, as the year 2000 begins, all technology goes haywire and civilization collapses. And it's a fairly gory horror comedy because we get a lot of blood, decapitations, limbs being chopped off by wild machines. And eventually we get to a point where it's cartoonish enough. It's part of the comedy. The comedy is uneven. Some bits were interesting and funny and insightful, and some were just predictable. And I don't usually like to criticize a movie for not being what it isn't. But I think this was a missed opportunity because what we get in this movie is the story is that an AI, some artificial intelligence, has emerged from all of our technology, and that has decided to take over and destroy humans and assimilate them to be slaves. Essentially, it is some combination of Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive and Doctor Who's Cybermen. I think there may have been more and better and more interesting comedy to be found in exploring and exaggerating the real fears that people had in the late 90s about what was going to happen to the technology that runs our civilization thanks to the millennium bug. The pre-show that I'll talk about in a few minutes even suggested more things that this movie could have been. I just think that everything that went into this movie could have made for a better movie if they had taken that route instead of just a gore-fest horror comedy with stereotypical characters and fairly predictable jokes. Though I admit some very good casting, including a cameo that was a lot of fun. I say cameo, it was a lot more than a cameo. Speaking of that Alamo pre-show, for this movie, the pre-show was mostly clips of PSAs and instructional videos and documentaries about computers and what it was like to use computers in the 1990s and to hook up to the internet with your modem and use America Online. And there were also some bits of documentaries and commercials and lots of scammy, fear-mongering infomercials about the millennium bug and trying to sell you a year's worth of food or emergency radios. We also had a clip from an MTV New Year's broadcast in which Limp Bizkit was covering Prince's 1999. And the pre-show included a couple of YouTube videos from Kyle Mooney, who was the director and co-writer for Y2K. One of them was an overly long sketch about someone trying to convince someone else to accept a record contract for his singing while doing chores. And the other was even less entertaining, and that was Kyle at a reptile convention, essentially inserting himself into a situation that others were enjoying. They were pursuing their hobby, and he was making them the butt of his jokes. So that's not a kind of humor that I appreciate, and it's not the kind of humor that I found in the movie Y2K. So I guess Kyle has matured, or he's realized that there's something else you want to do in making a film. Towards the end of the pre-show, we also had a clip from Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, just a little clip of The Stroke of Midnight, Y2K. And we also had the infamous PSA, "Don't copy that floppy," in which a cool rapper explains to kids why it's wrong to copy software. Altogether, it was a really good pre-show, exactly right for this movie, and to be honest, it was at least as entertaining as the movie was. For dinner, I got the Caesar salad with grilled chicken. I've gotten that a lot. But I also got something that has returned with the holiday menu, and that is hot cocoa and sugar cookies. The hot cocoa was very good. They have a fairly rich hot cocoa that they use. It was served in a paper cup this time. And the sugar cookies, they were recently baked, but they were not fresh and hot like they sometimes were in previous years. Don't know if that was just this evening at the Littleton Alamo, or if that's what we're going to see later on. I think there might be some more experimental sugar cookies in my future. Also, speaking of menu changes, I mentioned a couple of videos ago the fact that a few things had been removed from the menu, including the Philly sandwich and the ultimate garden salad. Not a big loss, the garden salad. It was not a terrific value. But they've also added to the menu a kale salad. We'll have to see how that is in the future. Thank you for joining me for this Drafthouse Diary. I will be back soon with more. In the meantime, enjoy your movies, and when you do, stay till the end of the credits.